Stay in my quarters and welcome back to another episode of RogueTech as we get into the campaigns of Howl's Harrows. And last time, well, we got our hands on a champion. Oh, I am just so very, very happy with this. The fact that we finally got our hands on a champion after so long, and it will still be somewhat useful as sort of a light skirmishing half-brawler type mech as soon as we build it. However, we need cash to build this mech, and we need a lot of it. So let's go settle a grudge. Within the last 3 months, the Federated Suns has struck our facilities, personnel, and supply convoys over half a dozen times. Our superiors and the Minion leadership would like to even the score. We'd like to hire you to find a Davian Lance and destroy it, to demonstrate that we are not without military resources enough. This will be a 1-4 priority salvage, 913,100 Seabills, 2.5 skull mission. We're hoping to blast through it fairly quickly and clear out most of the planet in, well, by the end of the episode. There's a couple of missions I want to take before I move on. We are a little bit underwater. It's about 9 days before the end of the month, but I think we can manage to get a couple of things done should we go quickly enough about it. So today we have brought the Rata-tat-tat. This mech has proven to be hilariously effective. I'm very happy to have it in the company, even though it does have an ISXL engine. We're going to make this sucker work. Paradox is driving the Thanatos, which I'm currently not super sold on, but we're kind of working our way through it, see what we end up coming up with in the end. We may end up replacing a whole bunch of weapon systems on it later on, but for now, we're going to see where it ends up going. Mockingbird is driving Kerensky's stick, one of the finest battle mechs we have ever designed. Except for its little ammunition problem, but we're working on that. We haven't come up with a solution just yet, but we're working on it. Aside from that, a pair of MRM-30s with listen, kill, and incendiary rounds is just the ticket for victory. Howl driving her classic Gauss Wolf with the twin Gauss rifles and 6 medium lasers. Finn in the Catapult 3 with its MML-40s, perfect for shutting people down. And Death Crusade bringing out an old favorite, of course, the Burner Boy. Why? It was cheaper to drop than the Lament. That is literally the reason. I believe the Lament was going to cost me, if I wanted to drop it, something in the order of like 193,000. This is 140-something thousand. So let's go figure out where the enemy actually is. They are over there in the corner. We're going to have to see how to get there, because right now, it appears that we're a little bit blocked off. But this may just be a function of Howl being in the back, having to walk around several other mechs. I hope that's the case, so that I can just walk onto the shore. Oh, good. We're going to be able to just walk onto the shore. It'll be nice and safe. We do have a lot of ground to cover and a very nasty choke point, so this island map is certainly not going to be the most easy to traverse across. Traverse. So we'll make sure we get everybody up onto the shores just so we can start shooting. If we need to, we can drop down onto the water and utilize that for additional heat sinking, but I'm hoping we aren't going to need to. Yeah, the Thanatos right now, though, is a little bit of an oddball at the moment. It is packing a fairly significant amount of weight and tonnage that it can bring to the table. It's got a fairly decent core into it, but it's got a Risk Silver Bullet Gauss rifle. I almost gave it 2 heavy Gauss rifles, which would have been really interesting to find out, but I wasn't sold on the speed of the mech, and at the time we were having a little bit of trouble, so I wanted to make sure that I brought enough, well, flexibility to the stage in order to make it worthwhile. At the end of the day, I think it may have actually been a little bit better with the twin Gausses. But hey, having the additional the pirate laser and the heavy silver bullet Gauss ought to give us some interesting options and opportunities to go forward with, even if we do probably outclass this Lance pretty gosh darn hard. We have recently, in one of our stream campaigns, Apollo's Vipers, ran into a battle which took us 2 hours. It was an absolute nightmare of a battle that forced us to have to make some very difficult decisions, and in the end we were barely able to succeed against all odds, but the way in which we succeeded was truly fascinating, and I highly suggest you go out and check out the VOD of that. That should be, I believe, episode 31 of Clan Invasion. If it's not up by now, then something has gone seriously wrong. But yeah, that battle was nasty, and one of the things that made the battle so nasty was the fact that the enemy was packing a lot, and I mean an absolute metric ton of LRMs. We were estimating somewhere in the neighborhood of over 500 LRM tubes. By the time everything had been blown up and destroyed, as in all of the mechs that were carrying LRMs, we had counted 270-something tubes that had been on the table, and that was after all the mech-based ones had been blown up because we destroyed them all. It was a nightmare. All right, so we got a Blackhawk. I believe this will be a Blackhawk KU, which would be, if it's a Blackhawk KU, then we're dealing with a 60-ton heavy mech. It's basically the inner sphere's answer to the, God, I'm trying to remember the names, the Nova. Duh. So it's basically the Blackhawk KU, Blackhawk of course being the name for the Nova, and it's 60 tons, tends to be a pretty solid Omni mech, especially for what it does. It does appear to also be on top of another mech. They also have a Centurion off here in the corner, which we may or may not want to kill. I don't... Ooh. We're probably going to want to steal that. There's a reason why I took this one for 1 of 4 priority salvage. I'm going to not do anything. No, we'll shoot him. Give him the alarms. There you go. Now you know. Now you're engaged. Prepare for battle. So yeah, a Gauss Rifle Norse Storm, which I do believe is very similar to our own Silver Bullet heavy risk monstrosity that we've mounted onto the Thanatos. So this ought to be interesting to find out. I'm going to push him forward just a little bit, see what he can actually find out. We are dealing with 2 different lances, so 8 mechs right now, which means we're almost on parity. I do anticipate there'll be a reinforcement lance, although it is not the hardest mission out there. So maybe we'll be lucky and we won't run into anything like that.
I've got something.
Bit of long-range firepower coming on in, but of course we have our pirate-based laser AMS, which can shoot down basically anything it wants. Centurion, and that was an Anubis, or Anubis, as however you want to pronounce it, is Anubis, but Anubis is from The Expanse, which makes it more amusing to me. So we're just going to continue our pressure on down. We have quite a bit of ground to cover in order to go into direct fire. I have been looking at my lances actually in both companies lately, and I've realized just how heavily we prioritize the direct fire combat. We really don't go in for sort of indirect fire, long-range shelling or bombardments, and I think that needs to change to a certain extent. Not a complete and total overhaul, but definitely something to keep things a little bit more varied, because having at least 1 or 2 like really good long-range, almost artillery-like builds could be very useful. We used to have one in this very campaign. We had a Griffin that was equipped with an Arrow 4, and we ended up not using it anymore. Yeah, that's what I'm expecting from the Norse Scouts. That's what our Silver Bullet does as well. Naturals and Hover Tank. It's a fairly interesting combination of mechs, but you're not going to get through my defenses. 10 of those would have hit, and all 10 were sniped out. Not bad at all. Kransky Stick definitely needs to get into this fight, because Kransky Stick can handle quite a bit of pressure on its own. Very well armored, very well armed, designed to a T to annihilate pretty much everything that it can actually run into. Looking forward to it. So 2 Centurions, one of which is Norse, one I don't know just yet, but we'll find out sometime soon. The Rata-tat-tat needs to find itself a good elevated position with which to bombard with. The Rotary AC-5 is a fairly solid long-range fire support vehicle. Got a Watchman battle mech shifting on forward, not too worried about him. PPC triple medium laser, he's a 40-tonner, which is a solid 40-tonner. I mean, that's Vindicator levels right there. Although the Vindicator could do so much more if it just ripped out that LRM-5. Okay, bouncing on over with the Blackhawk, still not in a position to really engage him just yet, as my people are sort of peeking around the mountain as they're looking for a good target to annihilate just as soon as they can, at any rate. Pulling a lot of people have to get on through this forest, which is going to take a little while. Brother Boy still being protected by the Aegis of the Thanatos, which is proven to be highly effective. I don't want to move too far forward with it because of that exact reason. Because if I get too aggressive with it, it'll move outside the AMS range, and I don't want to have to deal with it getting shot up by absolutely everything. It doesn't have the survivability to do that just yet. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to run over to the side, sort of a lateral movement on this one. 1, to make shots a little bit more indirect fire, and 2, to give us more time to run everybody else on forward, so that we can actually get a little bit of pressure down on this. I don't care about keeping that Watchman alive, so I have no qualms with just blasting it. Same thing with the Drillson. 2 MML-10 risks on an Anubis. Okay, that'd be worth stealing. You're worthless to me. It's not bog standard, but it is pretty standard. It's a solid Centurion. It's a good starter Centurion, but it's not something I'm looking for. The Drillson is also super boring. So I think I'll have the easiest shot on the Watchman. Oh, no. It's just terrible shots all around. All right, I'm not going to waste the firepower. We're also going to chill out. We'll take the opportunity to get our temperatures under control so that we can bombard people. And somebody brought a hyper laser. Okay. You need to identify yourself now so I can annihilate you with enough firepower to make you go away. It's the Uber Irby. Right. So this is not something you want to deal with. Uber Irby, it's the Risk Irby, which is equipped with a hyper laser and a whole bunch of other weapon systems. It's not particularly fun to want to try and fight, trust me. You want to kind of avoid it wherever possible. Gonna just throw a couple of Gauss Rifle shells. One actually managed to hit. We got lucky on that one. Yeah, we gotta kill this Urban Mech quickly. We would like to save the hyper laser. trying to figure out what item I want to steal. If he's got a radical prototype double heatsink, or a radical double heatsink kit, I'd love to grab that. Or a Clan XL engine. That's one of the reasons I brought somebody capture mechs, to make sure that I can capitalize on important equipment theft. After all, I have quite a few mechs that I'm going to have to build in the relative near future, so I'd like to make sure of it. Hi, let's see how you enjoy this. You missed. You missed badly.
Reporting negative damage.
Did you shoot yourself? No, did you shoot your friends? Perhaps a little bit? Yes, you did. You shot him in the back. Good job. So, not exactly great. I was expecting the coin flip to work a little bit more in my favor, that it would land near him, but not necessarily hit him and then explode and blow up his systems, but I suppose not. You need to die, because I want to steal your stuff. You happen to have a couple of launchers that I'd love to have more of. Not quite sure. Well, I do know why. So we are in sight line, but we are not yet in range. The Rata-tat-tat will need to get a little bit closer before we can just start unloading everything it's got on people. Reinforcement lance has shown up, and the first thing that actually managed to show its face is a sentry. A whole bunch of machine guns, small pulse lasers, flamers, and another PPC. So we're dealing with a couple of PPCs. That is a little less than ideal. Not a fan of them. Oh, am I in heavy medium range? No, I'm in Gauss rifle range. Right. Could shoot the Drillson. The opportunity is too low. Especially for our limited ammunition. We've got 6 shots with that hyper assault Gauss, so probably not. A little bit of long range fire coming to the Bird Boy, but who cares? The Thanatos is covering him perfectly fine and shot down 10 of 10 missiles. You're not going to get through so long as I'm here. The Watchman shifting on forward as well. Gonna fire his PPC. Yep. Not managing to connect because he's evasive enough, and he is within a couple of ECM bubbles, which is helpful. Hunter tank, also going to lob a little bit of light fire, but again, who cares? The Thanatos came to party. 20 of 20. Oh, this pirate system is so good. As long as it doesn't break, because it can jam, or it can misfire, and if it misfires, you're in a lot of trouble. You know what, Death Crusade, you're going to reserve. I don't want to deal with the Burner Boy right now. I want to deal with other things. Particularly, I would love to get on forward and perhaps give a little bit of love to everybody. Let's go take a peek, see what we've got. Indirect fire is not so good, but then when we knew that. The Drillson, on the other hand, we have a great shot on too, so let's give some love. Whole bunch of missiles on into the target, and we managed to get that kill. Which is good, because the Drillson was still packing a large laser. His launchers weren't exactly dangerous, but a large laser to the right location at the right time can be very damaging and very dangerous to have to deal with. I'm in range of the Centurion, but not of the Urban Mech. The Urban Mech's already demonstrated that it can shoot this far out here, so I do want to be somewhat careful. We'll shift the Gauss Wolf on forward. Not good, also not good, but this is slightly better, and I bring the medium lasers into the fight too. Oh, nailing with one shot, 75 damage on through. That was worth it alone. Pardon me, something appears to be caught in my throat. Clearly the enemy is attacking me through other methods. I think I want to kind of keep the pressure on the Watchman, because I don't care about engaging the Centurion just yet. Soon, but for now, not so much. So move the Thanatos on forward to make sure that we cover everything else. He's up on a hill, so fire down. There we go. It's starting to get a little bit of long-range artillery. And something broke. Great. Yeah, he broke the silver bullet cast rifle. Not ideal. I'm going to have to see if there's alternate fire modes, but I don't think that there are. So now that that's broken, we're going to have to be a little bit more careful about utilizing it. Oh wow, that's a lot of PPCs. I'm assuming those are light PPCs, unless we're dealing with something fairly powerful and large. Oh yeah, it's the Black Hawk KU. I'm fairly certain he's got like 3 or 4 light PPCs. And a Gauss rifle. That was the Norse Storm. Might be a good idea to swap out our current Silver Bullet one for the Norse Storm. I'm going to have to check on the tonnage of that one. Some accurate fire with his LBX autocannon onto the catapult, so that is less than good. However, his missiles, once again, the Thanatos dealing with all of that. Okay, we have a bit of a problem in that this mech wants to attack everybody and is going to be very careful about where he shoots, because if he shoots through people, well, things could die. And we'd rather not have them. Oh, but that's such a good shot. Run this gun up. Let's make this Black Hawk KU suffer. Warlorded. Where are the additional accuracy? That was beauty. I think he hit every single time. That was amazing. Oh, I love it. Did you broke your guns? I wouldn't be surprised or blame you for it, but I do need to know if you broke your guns. That way I can sort of plan for the future. You broke one of the guns. Okay, so we're going to be continuing sort of an alternate fire unless we get really lucky. So we've got the Watchman with his PPC, the Sentry with his PPC, the Centurion, and the Blackhawk. So we've got these three are all PPC carriers. Then we've got our Hyper Laser in back here with the Urban Mech, which is less than enjoyable. Not sure what the Hunter's got, but it's generally nothing too much. It's just a couple of missiles, as you can see. But of course we have our Thanatos here to provide enough fire support coverage for everything. Mockingbird with Kerensky's stick. Would love to get her within range, but I think she's only going to be within Hyper Assault Gauss range. Also, shooting through the back of mechs is not exactly... Ooh. Maybe it is a good idea. Warlord 76. We can go to 71. Yeah, let's start the cooking. I'm just watching right over here to see just every... Ooh, whoops. We meant to take you intact, I'm sorry. Oh, we touched off his cluster ammo and just the whole thing went up in smoke. This, kids, is why case is very, very important and why the Rata-tat-tat actually carries 2 tons of case purely in each torso to keep it alive. We do want to be a little bit forward, but we also don't want to be visible to everybody because that is a quick recipe for death in this mech that we've noticed. So cover is great, but maneuverability is better. Can I jump? I can jump to here. It would make me a little less steady, but I don't think steadiness is going to be my biggest problem. Just going to stack up a whole ton of evasion. The accuracy is bad, but we expected that one. I can knock over the Blackhawk, so let's go do that. I'm going to lay a sensor lock down to the Blackhawk KU, and we're going to actually see if we can't shut him down. Oh, he's a mini awesome. That's adorable. Missiles. There we go. Plus 25 heat. Managed to set his foot on fire. So he will be burned in the next turn, because I'll bring up the burner boy just for that purpose. Although whether or not I can, fully take care of him, that'll be a completely different question. Got a hunchback mode on forward. At least it's not a Quasimodo with a hyper laser. We've already got one hyper laser on the field. We don't need any more because when they hit like a truck. So we're very much trying to avoid this urban mech. I would like to get the Kerensky stick nearby him before he gets an opportunity to shoot at anybody else, but I'm not sure that's going to be all that viable. See, this is one of the reasons why I was actually feeling pretty confident to bounce the burner boy forward, because I didn't think he's going to get shot too much by incoming missiles, and so far we're kind of right on that assumption. Thanks to the protection that the Thanatos provides, we can actually be kind of aggressive on that. Gonna switch over to Inferno, see if we can't just absolutely barbecue you in one round of shooting. Also gonna lay down the sensor lock on top of you just in order to make sure that you have nowhere to hide. And barbecue time. We missed a couple of them. 155 heat is not quite what I was looking for. But I could, however, bounce over here and contribute to this little love fest. I'm a little bit worried about contributing too heavily on this one because, after all, they are just flamers. Maybe not bounce that much. That might be a bit of a bad idea. Right. That is still a small. You know, I have enough in order to handle a vigilance, and that's what I'll do. Try to take control and cover of him. So we'll bounce on forward. That stacks up more negatives to our stability. Can then switch to a vigilance, then target him in the face. All of the flamers, all of the MMLs on Inferno. Let's see if we can't torch somebody in one round of shooting. 111 heat is good, but it's not quite what I'm looking for. Close though. I don't know what this Blackhawk KU has. I think he's got an XL engine, which I want to be somewhat careful of. But I would like to rob him of a couple of pieces of equipment potentially. Same thing with the Anubis. No, come back. Come back. No, stop. You have, I believe, special stealth armor, which I may want to steal. Don't run. Return. We wish to be your friends. Blackhawk, no. Anubis, I prefer not to. Hunchback, Watchman. Okay, so I still can't see the urban mech. Alright, give me the sentry and do me a favor. Blow his head clean off if you don't mind. Apparently she did mind, but still managed to get a pretty decent amount of fire into him with the twin Gauss rifles managed to call home. And I think he actually managed to hit her with, or she managed to hit him with pretty much all of her medium lasers too. Okay, we got the Norse Storm Gauss rifle. Dude, that was not nice. You should not have done that to him. He was your friend, your buddy, your pal. And what you just did to his leg? Oh wow, what you just did to his mech. I'm trying to take this thing intact, and the dude has like no armor left there. Yeah, I should probably just blow his torso out. We'll focus on the Anubis. If I can get Kerensky's stick in range. It should actually have the range. The question is going to be the angle. Alright, Paradox in your Thanatos. I think actually you will indeed run through the cover problem, or the damage increase. So it does suck a little bit, but we can deal with it. I can probably just kill you with one shelling. Don't really care about you, so I'm going to give you some love, and we're in fact going to throw on a bit of a warlord, just from improvements to make sure that we don't miss. Okay, close enough. And the acid is pretty solid as well. So heatsink doubles destroyed. He does have a double heatsink kit, but I don't think I need it. I'm looking for radical double heatsink kits because they're very useful. I prefer radical double heatsink kits over prototype radical something. The radicals are still somewhat confusing to me, but I'd like the version that I can use basically normal heatsinks with. A strike what now? In any event, we got a lot of incoming fire, but again, who cares? The Thanatos has your back. That's his entire point of existence at the moment. Jester, yeah, bring the Rata-tat-tat on forward, and let's just go see if we can't kill, well, this guy here. I do want to be in cover a little bit. I also don't want to shoot through my friends. This ought to do. So good in the water. Oh yeah, the accuracy is through the roof. Just picked him apart piece by piece. And there goes the sentry. How's your guns? Because that is actually really important to me. Oh, both are ready to go. So we had one round where one gun was down, but now they're both back up. So he's actually doing a lot better than I thought he would. The way I've kind of mentally prepared myself to deal with the Rata-tat is that he will fire 12 shots every other round. But if he keeps this up, I mean, he's just batting 1,000. Okay, Irby's managed to show up and put on a little bit of heat. Mockingbird and Kerensky's stick will have a line of sight on a hunchback. And there's the Blackhawk KU. Okay, the question is, can the Blackhawk KU actually survive the incoming damage? The answer to that question is, of course, no. But I've almost got him shut down, so I'm going to go with just one MRM. And you instantly destroyed the engine.
Enemy eliminated.
Oh, yeah, because it was only going to take one missile in order to hit the side torso to kill it. Ah, well, we tried. And once again, Thanatos just coming in saying, nope, you are not allowed to do that here. I have the control. All of the aerial control. No enemy shield managed to get through our sight. We do now need to deal with the urban mech. We also need to deal with the Anubis. These are two of the, I suppose, primary mechs that we're currently now aiming for. The Centurion to a lesser degree. The North Storm is interesting, but I'm not sure I want to risk my entire lives in order to steal it. Birda Boy, right. The Anubis is quite nearby, actually. If you were to go full sprint on him, can you get a line of sight on him? There's the line of sight. It's not a very good line of sight, but it is a line of sight. I'll step one back. Just to make sure that he's not going to get quite as badly torched by the entire universe. Coming up forward with probably as much control to the heat as he's going to get. And I only need some of them to hit. I need more than just that to hit. So we're probably going to need the catapult to sort of ram it home that we want to steal all of his stuff. Also, the Bird Boy has some pretty serious problems in terms of just control anymore. It was a fun mech. It's a really cool mech. It's got a lot of interesting gear on board, including a flame and fire control system, but I'm not quite sold on its continued utility. However, it is an interesting mech to sort of cycle in. Oh, you just shut yourself down. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, now we can start getting to work on trying to steal him. Or we could also start getting to work on trying to steal the whatchamacallit, the carrier, or the urban mech. It's considered a carrier because it's a hyper laser carrier. Do you have a shot on you? Do you also have a shot on the Norse Storm, which I may ignore for now. I do kind of want to steal multiple things. So let's go prune the chaff, I suppose? I don't know. Unfortunately, not as good accuracy as I was hoping for. I was kind of planning on a double hit, and that would have blown up the mech. Unfortunately, it was not to be. We should be able to follow that up with our Risk Silver Bullet Gauss rifle, assuming, of course, it doesn't explode. Oh, I was not expecting you to go so early. Oh, but you only fired 2 medium lasers. That's fine. You can continue to do things like that. Finn. Oh, Finn's not in the best of shape. Because unfortunately Finn has managed to jam one of his very important MMLs. So instead you're going to target the Anubis, you're going to target his head, you're going to target him with Inferno, and you're going to hopefully light him on all the fire. It's almost as much heat as I need. I need a little bit more. Although the fire here is potentially going to spread quite far. Still under the protected guise of the Thanos as the Thanatos. It is keeping us all alive at this point. Speaking of a said Thanatos, let's sprint on forward to continue to make sure that everybody's nice and covered. And you're going to blow up the Hunter.
Here you go.
There we go. Oh, just every single one of those shots managed to rip that thing limb from limb. So one of the supporting vehicles is down. We do want to steal a whole bunch of mechs, and we're going to need to get Kerensky's stick in here sooner rather than later. Hunchback said, nope, I'm going to fire an AC something at somebody. Unfortunately for him, he managed to miss by 55%, so he's not having the best time ever. I don't mind killing Hunchbacks at all. I would actually prefer them not to exist anymore. So we will blow the Hunchback and probably the Sentry Skyhawk, as I have no interest in that mech either. Bring Mockingbird on forward. Hi, you have a line of sight on the Anubis, which is wonderful. And you're going to fire both of your incendiary ammo arms to just fully panic this pilot. Or you could set off an ammunition explosion. That works too, I guess. I wanted to steal that center torso because the FF stealth. Oh well, we're proving to be just a little bit too powerful for what we're facing. Oh, it's not our fault. We're trying to keep them alive. It's just not working out. Centurion I don't think is a risk version, but it certainly has some interesting tech like that cannon. So we're probably going to try and steal it. Oh, a punch coming in. Does manage to nail the back of our little catapult. However, his back is now towards my entire company. So that may have been a rather severe mistake, actually, on his part. We're going to run right on over here, which does force me to have to shoot through allies, but it's a little bit okay because he's shooting upwards. I think hit the Hunchback. And structure exposed. He's lost his evasion. He's having a bit of a bad day. Somebody just proved confident, and I'm not quite sure why they felt that they could do that. Yeah, we already killed everybody. So you're not happening that. Could walk over here and punch you. That would give me under temperature, but I don't want to do that. What I instead wish to do is bounce. So I'm going to jump right on over here. We do still have an urban mech, which is kind of our primary goal. And we'll get back under temperature. Next turn, he will be able to engage. He'll bounce on top of, say, the Irby or something. Because I think I'm just going to ignore the Centurion. If we core him out, then there's nothing that I care about. Oh, no, he was able to move away. And then shoot the Gauss Wolf pretty gosh darn hard with that one. So we're going to have to respond in kind and basically blow him to little bitty smithereens. So can I get into a good position to do exactly that? Not as much as I'd like, if I'm completely honest. I do want to save the gun, though. So we need to get onto this side of him, which is actually kind of okay. The ground is a tad unsteady. Gauss rifles are too close. Of course, we must remember we have a fairly significant minimum range, which we must respect. Otherwise, life gets really, really complicated really, really fast. I don't want to blow off your one side. I think he knows that, but what he doesn't seem to have realized is I care less about that than I do about just killing him. I'd rather have him dead than have him alive while I try and mess around with getting that Gauss rifle intact. So dead and Gauss rifle destroyed preferred more than getting that Gauss rifle intact and having to lose something important. It's interesting, but it's not like, it's not gonna blow me away. Potentially it will actually. Alright, I need Paradox? No, Jester, no, Finn. Yes, Finn is my boy. Finn is my man. Alright, let's get a target on you. I am on your left side. Inferno SRMs. Good, lovely. 73%. It's a little bit lower than I was expecting, but hey. Ah, there we go. Starting out the burning quite nicely. We'll shift slightly over to the side and into cover. And we can follow up with other mechs as they come online, or at least into the right position. Jester with the Racketeer. And the Jester could actually do a lot of interesting things, including blowing you up probably. I'd rather not lose that torso. So, in the meantime, there we go. Blow it up a Hunchback. Oh, he had an AC-10. Right, he was one of the bad Hunchbacks. Took the AC-20 out of the Hunchback. Why would you do that? Why would you ever do that? It's just such a mistake. Can't seem to get the angle that I quite desire, but that'll be fine. What are you? You are a truck. So I don't really care about a truck. I'll shift into a position to do like so. Could shoot you with the silver bullet. I am going to, however, shoot you because you're closer. And lots of acid and engine grids, which is lovely. And he's got a boosted C3 slave, so coring him out may actually be the best idea. Because if we core him out, then we get to keep all the really neat gear. Catapult's about to take a little bit longer fires, but again, the Thanatos is in range to provide the perfect amount of fire support. That is by shutting down every single shot that he ever potentially had to ever shoot at me. I need to see that urban mech. Do I not have it? I don't have it. That's less than great. But what I do have is a point-blank range shot at somebody who has an open-centered torso. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for full aim on this one. Right here for your center. You have not a lot of health left. You also don't have a lot of health left in that one, but we're going to try and be picky about it. We're going to keep it to incendiaries just to see if I can't get what I want.
Target
Center torso. Okay, now that was an Omni Centurion, which would have been nice to steal, but again, he had some really cool gear that I wanted to grab. Okay, was kind of expecting you to actually fire your big gun. He does have a radical heatsink kit. I do want to steal him. So we're going to come in over here and we're going to torch him with all of my mechs in the next round. It's going to be lovely. Striker coming on in, but again, who cares? Because we have more than enough capability to handle all the incoming missiles. Counter press isn't broken, but knock on wood. Do you have a shot just standing here? You do. He's staring right across from him. What's your problems? Terrain, terrain, and terrain. Well, moved, terrain, and moved. Yeah, lay down the cook. Maximum Inferno. There we go. That's a mech shutdown right there. And he's lost his evasion. Which was, of course, the plan all along. We don't want to go through fire. Fire is, of course, bad. So I will shift on back like so.
No problem.
Hide myself a little bit better as Death Crusade and the Burner Boy comes forward, which has now positioned him perfectly to attempt to, well, steal the mech. We are going to cook ourselves a little bit to do this, but hey, if you don't risk anything, you won't get anything. Okay, I don't want his structure exposed, but he's now panicking, so I can sort of work that angle a little bit. We'll stay in here in the water. Probably just use flamers or something in the next round. Paradox in the Thanos. Thanatos. I will get these names wrong constantly, and I'm going to have to get over that. Oh, you have a target right here. Okay. Sure, fire this over. Hey, you hit it pretty good. Oh, I forgot he doesn't move. But that's fine. The Rata-tat-tat still has all of its guns ready to rock and roll, so why don't you go remove the striker from the game? Warlord it up. Maximum run. And another vehicle down. This is one of the better fire support platforms we've ever built. One of his guns did jam, but that's a small price to pay for the amount of firepower that we're able to put out with this mech. Pop on over here, and I don't want to walk through acid to do this, so I'm not gonna. I'll get into cover, and I'll be prepared for your next round as you come over the hill. Yeah, the Rata-tat-tat doing far better than I thought it was going to. Yeah, you're not shutting down, or you're not turning on anytime soon. Although, what torso? Ooh, it was a torso. Oh, that's not good. Gotta make sure that I don't cook it too badly. Hey, Commando's arrived. Although I doubt that it's actually Commando. You are representing a what today? You are the sentry. Okay. Mockingbird, you've got Kerensky's stick, which has one of its weapons jammed, which is a little less than ideal. You would be coming up on his left or right side. His left side, that's actually ideal. So what you're going to do is you're going to come over to the left. And the reason why we want to come over to the left is we're going to target him. We're going to target just with the incendiaries, and we're going to target the leg. I figure if I target the leg, it can reduce the amount of, well, everything. Pilot bailed. Okay, that's the entirety of that mech. Now, we're getting 1 of 4 priority salvage, but the important thing is we're going to be able to steal the important stuff. Probably the radical heatsink kit, actually. Everything else I don't really care about. It's going to be a bit of a fight to see whether or not we want to steal the stuff from the Centurion or the stuff from the Urban mech. Alright, Burner Boy just needs to chill. Brace. Which means Finn can now come leaping on forward into battle. No target just yet, but Finn will probably try and wipe this guy out with the acid rounds. And the Thanos is also not probably going to be in a position to actually do anything, unfortunately. Walking through the water has slowed it considerably. That's the other reason why I didn't end up going silver bullet Gauss rifles. Or twin heavy Gauss rifles. I didn't think it would be fast enough. Because you need to get right on top of the enemy. Which is actually one of the reasons why we are considering doing a heavy Gauss rifle on the champion. Because I think it'll actually be fast enough in order to pull it off. Yeah, I don't care about anything you've got. Oh, wow, did you... Headshot. Good job, Howl. Oh, that was gorgeous. That was absolutely beautiful. As the entire forest is starting to burn to the ground. Do I want to try and run through the forest? I think I might. Just to be in a position. And that'll be the risk rack back online.
Commander?
Mockingbird and Kerensky's stick can come around as well to support, as it's basically only one target. And come on, dude, give up. You know you don't want to fight. Apparently only 15 heat from the fire. I thought fire was 30 heat, but maybe I'm only thinking chemical fires. Striker shifts slightly on forward. And the catapult will have a line of sight. Lovely. Get up and right. Nice and close. Could go... I think I'm going to go acid. Or dead fire. Dead fire is probably the best solution. There we go. Please die. Taken care of. Alright, that is the entirety of all 3 enemy forces. So it was, what, 12 on 6? So we've fought outnumbered 2 to 1 and still managed to persevere, although we did bring heavier weight. But that's somewhat to be expected. So a decent amount of cash on this one. We'll make about 800,000 unless it gives us a bonus for killing all the side targets as well. Which it did give us 20% additional for the reinforcements, so that'll make us 948,720, which is good. The Thanatos unfortunately has a silver bullet Gauss problem, and the Gauss Wolf took a pretty nasty hit actually from that one shot back. So let's go take a look at what our prizes are. There were quite a few of them. None of the mechs I have any interest in. If I were to grab it, I would grab it just to sell it. It was the cool Centurion, the CN11, which has a integrated XL engine, sure, but the cooler thing about it is the fact that it's an Omni. It's an inner sphere Omni, which is very interesting. So the Gauss Rifle Norse Storm deals 35 damage, deals an area of effect damage within 50 meters of the impact, additional damage in area of effect damage of 35 to primary and secondary targets. This weapon has a recoil of +2. Yeah, I'm not really feeling it. It seems like it blows up pretty badly for what it does. So also it's 15 tons. Hyper Laser, of course, is a hilarious piece of weapon equipment that is pretty much too unreliable to actually use safely, which is the definition of a lot of risk here. Medium lasers, we don't need that many. Angel ECM, new, thank you. Emergency coolant system, endo steel. 155 radiant fusion cores, which is kind of interesting actually for what we're running into. Heatsink kit double, ferrofibrous armor. That's the one, radical heatsink double. How many of these do I actually have? I have 2. This will be 3, which is perfect because I'm building quite a few mechs as they're coming online. Ooh, slick suites come in groups of 2 these days, apparently. Heavy ferro would have been nice to have. Gauss ammo, I don't think I need this. Yeah, I've got 4 tons of normal Gauss rifle, and that's not even including double tons. I think we're going to want to stick along. 6 standard fusion engines. Please, game, let me get those. That'll just be hilarious. A couple of Omnipods, but I don't think I need maybe an Omni lower. Might actually be able to put that in the Avatar pot, perhaps? But yeah, so the Radical Heatsink Kit double ought to be quite useful because of just how flexible it is. It gives you a ton of heat control just through the fact that when you hit 90% heat, you get an additional -20 per turn, which is amazing. So it is the Heatsink Kit of the future. Ballistic target computer is also really nice because it's a ++, would give us +1 ballistic accuracy, -50% ballistic minimum range, although +15% heat. Not that that matters for a lot of ballistic weapons. And the steel comes in groups of 2. I'm just doing one last check through to make sure that I'm not missing anything super important. So the Norse was an interesting weapon system, but I'm not going to waste on it. Alright, let's just confirm that in. AC-10 wasted, basic cockpits wasted. The endosteel double is nice. That puts me up to 4 endosteel, which is good, I suppose. It's not super great, but at the end of the day, we took this one for cash, and we got a piece of equipment that we wanted anyway. So getting the radical prototype double, or the radical double heatsink kit that's fine. I'm perfectly happy with how that mission ended up turning out. I would of course prefer more, but that's just because I'm a glutton for stuff. Although I have enough mechs that I don't need more stuff. That is sort of the mantra I'm telling myself over and over in my head. You don't need more things. Calm yourself. Try to visualize the stuff that you already have in a big pile, and maybe that'll give you clarity to how much stuff you have, and the answer to that is no. Must have more stuff. 36,297 for the next 3 days is not a terrible repair. I've got 9 days left to go. We're at 2.5 million C-builds. We are 13 days until Gamma Pod. A bit of an explanation. I don't remember if I did this last time, but right now it is possible in order to pick up repaired mech bay. So repaired mech bay will give you 1 additional drop. It's the 4th in the line, which means this will give you 8 drops. However, you can't control 8 mechs at the same time with that. Instead, you need to come over to mech control to pick up the last one of this, which is command console. But command console needs repaired mech bay and gamma pod. So in order to get the last and final upgrade, you need to have all 3 of your habitat pods built. And gamma pod is super expensive. It's like 2.25 million C-bills. So getting that done will be really nice. And then after that, it's going to be another 800,000 and 450,000, so 1.2, yeah, like right around 1.2, 2.5 million C-bills, which is great. And that'll take 9 and, what is it, 8 days? No, 9 and 9, so 18 more days in order to finish that. Then, of course, you got to finish your drop tonnages, because the drop tonnages will increase your drop weight limit. I've got another 2 of these left to get done. But once the Gamma Pod is done, we may want to drift into training module soon. But the Argo definitely coming together in a pretty nice way. Okay. So, we need to get our mechs back online, and we're looking at 2 days in the Gauss Wolf, 1 day to everybody else. The Champion's 11 days, the Marauders in 16, and the Screamer's in 20. Okay. So 1 and 2 and stop. I can start A-team back and ready to go. Quick check on the mech bay, of course, because the Thanatos is currently not operating properly. I have not begun repairs on the analyst just yet because I have enough of a repair queue that I don't want to sort of waste the time. 3 days and 4,800 to fix that silver bullet gas rifle. Actually, do me a favor. If I were to not do that, if I were to replace it with, say, I don't know, a better Gauss rifle? I can't put a heavy Gauss rifle in there no matter how much I want to, but because apparently heavy Gauss rifles can only be mounted inside torsos. This has made me very, very sad. Rotary 10? Ooh, Rotary 10 Pirate. How much is this for recoil? Recoil of 5. 5 misfire chance times recoil. Deals 210 damage because it's 4 times 5, 3 times 5. It's basically a shotgun autocannon, which is really hilarious to me, actually. The problem is also you'll probably need a lot of ammunition, and we can't really afford ammunition. So I need to be sort of looking for more Gauss rifles, honestly. We got a Rotary 5 Pirate, which is a similar deal. But I think if I were going that direction, I would go with the 10. So if I were to pull these out, and if I were to do this, I would have to basically reset how I set this up. I would also need probably, yes, an upper recoil plus. In order to sort of handle even more of this, we of course lose the fire control system Gauss because we wouldn't need it anymore. If we have a flak, although I want to use this flak for other things, so this is purely a theoretical build at this point. I also don't think I have the ammunition for this. And you have an enhanced imaging which gives you +2 gunnery. So then we would come over to ammo. We look at rack ultra, and I need rack 10, which I don't have. Right, this requires rack 10 ammo? Yeah. So we'd need to find our way to managing to get our hands on some rack 10 ammo in order to do that. So I suppose he's going to keep his direct fire artillery for the time being. Although that will mean that he is not going to be deploying in this next mission. Because I can't afford to wait around for another 3 days if I want to get things done quickly. And I kind of do. So give him 3 days, 4,800 C-bills. Patch that up. And let him stay at the top of the queue.
I'll get it in the schedule.
So I need Thanos to the top. That bumps the Marauder, but that's okay. Alrighty, so you're gonna have to sit and wait for a while. I will build you. You will be built. It's just gonna take me a while to actually get everything sorted out. Oh, Mr. Big 100-tonner. I got a whole bunch of other things, several other mechs to get through in the queue first, and then I've got to get the cash, and he's gonna need a lot of cash to rebuild. That's the biggest thing about him, is he's gonna require like 5 million C-bills and a whole ton of equipment to do it. I'm not quite sure what direction I want to move into. You can actually turn Alice's into fairly solid energy mechs normally, because they normally have pretty good energy weapons on their hands, and their ballistics in the hips are kind of suboptimal because you can't mount the really good stuff. Although maybe I could give him a heavy Gauss rifle. That might actually be a good idea. Although, nah, he's a bit too slow for that. He'd need a normal Gauss rifle just to be effective. Gotta do a quick check of the store because I do believe we have a faction job here, and because of that, I think I should be able to get my hands on some interestingly useful equipment, potentially, depending on how the faction shop is filled up. Oh wow, so Blackhawk Bards, Hunchback. Actually, yeah, this is a lot of my stuff, actually. So I'm filling up most of the store, apparently, today. Although I hear that we are talking about a reset coming up with 1.8. Which would make sense. Yeah, that's pretty much all of my stuff. Oh, so I have populated basically the entire store. It's a little disappointing, actually. Alright, let's go to the command center and prepare ourselves for another drop. Yes, we're 42 minutes in, but hey, we can get a little bit of work done. Destroy a base might be a good idea. Decapitation for an assassinate? Yeah, let's decapitate the assassinate. Or maybe not. What's going to pay me the most? Repossession? Repo, for sure. I'm fighting against the local pirates, so we're going to go like so. Yeah, for the 104 priority. And I'm only losing like 200,000. 220 or so, which is fine. So yeah, we'll go for 104 again as we try and build up our cash reserves. 1, so we can leave, and 2, so we can build mechs. As for our backups, of course, we'll put the Lament in for where we would normally put our big silver bullet artillery. And then I will take the catapult and the burner boy. Just again to go for those easy captures, or not easy necessarily captures, but definitely on that line. All right, let's drop down and see if we can't cause some havoc. We could drop in with another mech as well. I mean, we could put in a 7th, but It's a 2-skull mission. I don't think I need that much superiority in numbers to go after. It is a straight up battle. With this was an assassinate, things might be a little bit different, but the only assassinate is, well, they're not going to pay me a heck of a lot for it. So we may end up leaving this planet after this battle and heading on towards greener pastures and greater challenges, and also giving us some time in order to finish up several of the mechs that I have in the prepare bay. Like that champion, which is going to need a full rebuild. I need a lot of stuff for it too. I don't know how it, well, I have an idea of what I want for it. It's going to take a little work. Anyway, repossession. A pirate leader has fallen behind on payments for their armored vehicles, and our leasing agent has been unable to repossess the heavily armored vehicles. We've decided that sending a more explosive message is the best way to ensure that others do not take future liberties. This will be one of our priority salvages. 979,800 seabills at 2 skulls. It should be fairly easy. We also bought the Burner Boy, which should be able to, well, barbecue a whole bunch of vehicles. It's going to be nice and easy. That's the other reason I ended up taking for all cash, aside from the fact that I desperately need cash. I need a lot of cash. We're going to get all the cash, then we're going to sell all the stuff, and then we're going to leave the planet. And then in transit, we'll have to look at building stuff. But I've got a couple of XL engines that I can use. I have a few radical double heatsink kits which I can use, which are going to be super important to keeping a lot of control. But yeah, the Atlas I'll probably have to build as a sort of longer-ish range fire support vehicle. Gauss rifles would be working pretty good. I think I have 2 Blackwell Gauss rifles. They're not ideal. They do have a +1 accuracy, but they're inner sphere Gauss rifles, which means they're 14 tons, as opposed to the Clan Gauss rifles, which are only 12 tons, which is a lot more easily crammed into things. We'll have to see. Other things I could end up doing, Ultra AC-10s, a whole bunch of Ultra AC-5s, but I'd kind of prefer to have some arms for that one. I really do want to build at some point a Ultra AC5 build with like 4 or 5 Ultra AC5s, because at that point, if you've got 4 Ultra AC5s, you are shooting 8 rounds per turn, and they're not going to jam most of the time. Ultra AC5s tend to be really reliable, and so if you're just letting loose with 8 rounds per turn, you're actually almost as efficient as 2 Rack 5s in terms of just efficiency, because what's going to end up happening over 2 turns, if you estimate that you're going to be able to shoot everything, well, the Rack 5s are probably going to jam every other turn, so you'll get 12 shots every turn, whereas the Ultra AC5s are going to be reliable. You'll get 16 shots every turn. So weight-wise, doesn't quite balance out quite that well, because the risk Rack 5s sort of get in there and get in the way of making that super weight efficient. But yeah, it is definitely a thought that I'm sort of toying around in my head. So we're just going to sort of make sure that this mission is preparing to go. And now suspicious date change. Alright, let's begin. Alright, so hopefully everything is going to go out without a hitch this time, and we're dropping into the middle of the city with all the fun that therefore entails. And all the electronic countermeasures kicking on the moment we drop in. This will be a straight up duel, although apparently we've been dropped sort of on the opposite end of the city from our opponent. That is something that we can take care of by running very, very quickly. And hopefully be able to get on top of them before they can get away. So that's actually going to be the biggest problem, is actually killing them before they flee. Is this the map? This kind of feels like that one map that we did for the attack and defend mission. Not recently, but it was the first time we'd ever done sort of the attack and defend mission way back in season 4. Yeah, season 4, when we had our little jaunt in standard urban warfare without any sort of mods. I decided after that I was never going to do that again, because I didn't like the lack of options. Yeah, so dropping down to the city. The city is my favorite environment with which to actually fight on. In the dynamicness of it can be just all kinds of fun, especially when you start throwing around weapons that have a habit of missing or just shooting absolutely everywhere. For example, things like our Rata-tat-tat. Although our Rata-tat-tat is stunningly accurate at things, or maybe not stunningly, we kind of did build it with that sort of accuracy deliberately in mind. So it's not crazy that what it's able to pull off. However, it is rather amusing. But when you start throwing around weapons that miss and hit the buildings start collapsing all over the place, and that can be a lot of fun just as a battle rages on, as you can really sort of get an idea just how much explosions you are causing in the universe. Got a coolant exchanger that we're going to want to keep in, keep notice of. And let's get everybody unstuck from each other out of that corner, because that's a nasty little bottleneck. Were I equipped with thunders, I would just drop all of my firepower right on there, because I would not want to deal with that at all. I think I want to go straight across rather than trying to cut on through the alleyways in the city. We'll stay up high and be able to engage from a proper location that does not risk our lives too badly. Because then we'll be able to get really on target. The lament is surprisingly quickly for a 60-ton mech with triple ERPPCs, although triple ERPPCs is not as It's not as heavy as you'd think it is, so he has a lot of room for other things.
On the move.
It's 21 tons if you go in a sphere, but we're not. We actually are 20 tons because we have a clan ERPPC. We actually do want to swap out the 2 Tigers for another pair of clan ERPPCs. That'll get us down to 18 tons and could free up even more space for things like armor or double heat sinks, which would be lovely. Just to sort of keep that bank from having any troubles whatsoever whenever it starts torching itself. Although the Lament has demonstrated itself also to be insanely accurate at long range and just fantastic at blowing people into little tiny bits. So I'm quite happy with it as it is. Where's Death Crusade? There's Death Crusade. So we have cycled on once again. No trouble at all on that one. Continuing to push our little Omni-Mech, which happens to have an Innersphere XL engine way far ahead of the pack. I'm not that worried just yet, but that could change. Battle Bus, nothing too dangerous right on there. We're also got a Zephyr medium tank. Still not all that worried because, well, the Bird Boy is sort of explicitly designed to be able to kill vehicles just like that. So I don't really care. You're an electrical transformer, so I actually don't want to have random shots accidentally hit that, because that will explode in a massive, gigantic explosion of death and destruction and things that you really, really don't want to deal with. So I'm just going to keep my distance a little bit while Lament will pop over here and see if we can't give some love to the battle bus. Triple ERPPC manages to miss all 3 times, which is really sad, because that was all 3 of them were 40% accuracy. I was expecting at least 1. But I suppose not. Gas rifles, how are you looking? 42? You know what? Maybe you'll be luckier. We'll throw on the full Warlord and see if we can't get something out of it. Got a hit. I don't know if we penetrated the armor, but we are on through something. So the battle bus probably not going to be dead anytime soon, but definitely knows that it's now been tagged. Although not directly with tag, but you get the idea. We have... Sure, why not? Let's go for it. We'll Warlord this up as well, just for more accuracy. And the Gauss rifle, Hag 20. Did get some penetration on this one. It sounds like the reinforcements have arrived. So we're now dealing with 12 mechs, which is a little less than ideal. I was kind of hoping to burn through this super quick, but that's not going to happen apparently. If the Rata-tat-tat gets a line of sight though, then he's dead. Apparently the Rata-tat-tat cannot get a line of sight. Either that or he doesn't have the range for it. These Rak 5s are... They're not the longest range weapons. I have come to understand that Rak 2s are just so much further. Oh, we've already killed the... Oh, we killed the battle bus. Lovely. Oh, that's just perfect. A little bit of life fire coming in for the Lament. We have no AMS this time, so we're going to have to be a little bit more careful about it. That's a fascinating intersection right there. Yeah, without the AMS, we have to be a little bit more careful about what it is we're doing. There's also a paid fire truck. That's going to die first, because I don't want to deal with paint. And some other vehicle behind it. The Bird Boy is getting shot at, but the Bird Boy is more than nimble enough, able to avoid all of that incoming fire, which is lovely. Scorpion, LRM, yeah, not all that worried about you. Pirate Zephyr, not worried about you. We should be able to barbecue everything we've got. Not seeing any actual mechs just yet, but that does not mean they're not there. They are somewhere in that soup, I suppose. So we'll see if we can't get on forward. Do you have a target from here? You do. You do not have shooting scoot, but you could shoot. Your forward armor 72. I don't really think there's a point to that, so I'm going to sprint. We'll get a better accuracy shot later, or maybe even now. Triple 25. We'll shut off one of our target PPCs, and then we'll just give them 2. Both of them managing to miss quite badly. Unfortunately, that apartment complex is now under a little bit of fire. They may want to avoid being inside there because I can't imagine having much health left after that decent-ish shot. Oh, there we go. Now we're revealing things. We got a fire starter over here, a Locust, as well as the Scorpion LRM. We knew about the Hetzer AC-10, so it's one of the terrible Hetzers. Hunter, and is that about it? Aside, of course, from our little Pirate Zephyr around here. There should be even more targets because we were dealing with about 12 mechs, but I'm not all that worried. I mean, the fire truck probably want to kill that before anything too serious ends up happening, because the fire truck is going to start laying down really nasty pieces of equipment. Well, it's the fluid guns, really. I'm not worried about a Locust. Unless you've got suspicious cargo on board, I have no care for you at all. No, you're 2 mediums, 2 smalls, which is basically pointless. I have no fear of you at all. You should probably just go home. Save yourself a little bit of trouble. Can I get into flamer range here? I don't quite know, and I kind of don't think so, but I'm going to push it. Just to see... Oh, we are in flamer range. Lovely. I'd love to shoot him, but I'm not in range of him. What's my accuracy problems? Right, okay, shoot. We just need a little bit of luck. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough luck. I would have loved to have enough luck in order to completely barbecue him, but sadly not. Although I get the feeling flamers just don't feel as powerful as they used to be against vehicles. I really feel like some multiplier has changed somewhere along the line. Or something got unbugged, perhaps. We have a Centurion? It is a Centurion. It's a C9P with an internal combustion engine. And a Telos. Oh, That's an interesting kit. So Taluses can often have some really fun stuff like plasma rifles. If we run into one of those, I am absolutely going to grab it. We'll just come rushing on forward with Grancy's stick, standing right out in the open, where it's safe, clearly. Could fire at you. You are, after all, a locust. Nah, no point. We'll just wait on that one. I gotta get a second ton of ammunition into that hag just in order so I can actually use it more often. Because it was a bit of a mistake, I think, to only put a single ton in. It needs minor tweaks. We'll probably try and do that on our travels should we have additional bay time open. I don't know how likely that's going to be, but it will be something we'll keep in mind. Unlike Howl's Gauss Wolf, which can just fire all it wants because it's got a hilarious amount of ammunition for what it does anyway. Not that I'm complaining. I love the fact that I can just pound away with that thing every single day for as long as I want. What do we got? 37%. That should be safe, right? Sure. We'll warlord it, just keep the number under control. And run the gun. Perfect. If you fire enough times at something, eventually it's going to turn into nothing. Did you hit the lament? You did not. Did you hit the fire starter? Oh, beautiful. Managing to thread the needle between the two and annihilate the paint truck, so I don't even have to worry about that. The Rata-tat-tat. Already demonstrating that it's hilariously good. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's a 37%. Who cares? He's firing 12 times, he's going to hit you. A little bit of luck. We also have a Whitworth coming in. Currently being represented, I believe, by a commando. It's a little bit different. I think it's Whitworths are $45. Hetzer AC-10 is basically a worthless Hetzer. Because why would you ever not put the AC-20 on a Hetzer? The whole point is that it's fast, it's maneuverable, it's going to get on top of things. And then it's going to fire an AC-20 into them. Putting an AC-10 on it, sure, it gives you range, but the reduction in firepower is just so huge compared to the amount of tonnage you save. It's 2 tons. The difference between an AC-10 and an AC-20 is 2 tons. So why would you ever do that? Alright, a little bit of light fire, we're fine, we're good, lovely. Death Crusade?
Yes, command.
Alright, you're going to get the burner boy on top of the Zephyr, and you're just going to barbecue it out completely.
Coordinates received.
Hiya, buddy. I'm going to shut off the risk MML, and yeah, we're just going to burn you.
Acknowledge.
There we go. A little bit of light torching going on. His temperature does not appear to be at all stable, but that's, I suppose, fine. We'll take care of that in a later moment. Rush on forward, see if we can't get some interesting shots. That's the 3 I was looking for.
Full speed. No
So none of these are worth stealing so far. Well, I could now. That scored me pretty good. Wait a second. Show me that Hetzer again. BB5X. Oh, that's a... And suspicious cargo. Oh, okay. That's gotta not be there. Do have a sense of problem. Indirect fire, medium range, sprinted, target movement. Don't have a shot, but we gotta kill that thing before he gets anywhere near us. So now we know why he's actually potentially useful. Medium rifle, 2 rocket 20s, LRM-10. Oh, that's a really disappointing Talus. I like Taluses. I think they're really interesting mechs, but that in terms of loadout is pretty bad. Sure. I think we'll get the Locust. Do you have a sprinting? Yeah, you got a sprint bonus. I think target move +8. Let's reduce that by 1. Make my life just a little bit easier. Hi, Locust. We're about to see if we can annihilate you with LRMs only. Or SRMs. Okay, we're just going to go to the SRMs. They're the exact same accuracy. We may as well get some love on it. So enjoy the additional damage of our SRMs on direct fire. Didn't quite kill him. I was kind of hoping that it would, but I suppose we would have needed to concentrate the damage a little bit better. Locust shifting forward and to the side. Going to fire with his medium lasers and his smalls. I'll mention to hit us a little bit. Nothing too serious so far, but definitely something we want to keep in track of. So Paradox in the Lament may actually be able to finish him off. And that'll actually be the better angle, because now I won't have to shoot through my own buddy. 72, 40, 47. Goodbye. Destroyed. Lovely. Never stood a chance. Come on, let's be real here. A Lament coming on in with a triple PPC, you're just dead. You don't get to exist after that point. 27, 35. There we go. Managed to hit him and also shatter the building in the background. Just bringing that thing crashing onto the ground. Bring the Raktar on forward as well. See if we can't find a good angle where I don't have to worry so much about aiming through things. Because that would be very good if I don't have to aim through my own people. And I don't think he's going to be able to thread the needle. Oh, never mind. He's going to absolutely thread the needle. Fire away. I don't know how many hits that was. But that is starting to become scarily terrifyingly effective. Alright, Kerensky stick, you get to move up as well. See if you can't get a line of sight on the person who has been absolutely mauled already. Yeah, this fire starter has been not having a good day. I have a much better shot on the Whitworth. Fire away.
Acknowledged.
When it's that much better of a shot, you may as well take your chances and see if you can't manage to pull something up. So a pretty decent job on that. Who is next? The enemy now must respond to our advances. This Talos could actually be pretty dangerous to the Burner Boy on his own because of the 2 rocket launcher 20s. It's not a great mech. The problem is that it can deal a lot of damage in a very short period of time, which when it comes to the hands of the AI, that's actually a lot more useful to them than it is to us, because they always have numbers on their side. If we lose something, that's a huge loss. Versus when they lose something, well, who cares? First of all, they didn't have to pay for it, and second of all, they have a whole heck of a lot more where that came from. So one-off suicide things is actually perfectly fine by AI standards, and totally unacceptable by human standards for most of it, because we can't replace things that are just gone, especially not during battle. Oh, we got an urban mech as well. Do we know what kind of urban mech we're dealing with? Oh, it's the Lao one, isn't it? The PPC twin medium laser and a small. Okay, that's an interesting decision to make. The Bird Boy's going to swing on over here, see if he can't torch out the Hetzer, should we be able to get the range sufficiently in close. Because I want to make sure that the Hetzer does not have an opportunity to actually use that suspicious cargo. The amount of damage that it can deal, it's a massive bomb. And so you don't want to have to deal with that. So a little bit more live fire coming towards the Bird Boy, but not able to connect to him. They don't have a good line of sight on him just yet. And the Scorpion is going to come in as well, also spit a whole bunch of fire. If they were dropping mines, things would be a lot more dangerous to us. Luckily, this is not the case. So bring in Paradox now and see if we can't bring the Lament onto target. Kind of hope that you have an open center torso, but I'm not going to bank on it. Rush on forward. That's good. That's bad. So we'll come over here. We'll full Warlord it and see if we can't rip apart the fire starter before he gets to bring those large lasers into the fight. Ooh, looks like we missed with one of them, but we did manage to tear out his side torso. And that's the weakness of the Burner Boy right there, is the fact that if it loses the side torso, just like that fire starter Omni, the mech is basically done.
Roger.
Come on forward. I have 67% accuracy on the Whitworth, which is the same as if I use LRMs, so we're going to continue with our SRM Barrage. Enjoy. Center torso is now exposed, his engine heatsink has been critted, and he's now become unsteady, which is a really nasty place for him to be in, considering that Howl's up next, and Howl has a pair of Gauss rifles, and he has an open center torso. This can only end in tears. Okay, maybe not as big tears as I was kind of hoping for, but I'll take the knockdown. The urban mech ominously in the background, preparing to come into the battle.
Waiting for orders.
The Rata-tat-tat. He's still not managed to jam yet. Oh my god. That is so lovely. There's no way I'm going to make this shot, is there? 79s. He's got 22 health in that center torso. Fire your ultra autocannon mode. Perfect. Mwah. Perfectly calculated. You didn't jam anything when firing an ultra autocannon mode, did you? No, you didn't. Good.
Standing by.
Kerensky's stick needs to actually find a target, and they'll be able to come around this corner, I suppose, to find the Talos soon. We just have to actually, get to the Talos.
Gotcha.
An Orion coming around a corner is always a terrifying proposition, especially if you happen to not be in an Orion. Okay, you are going to come sprinting off in that direction. You're going to be able to get perfectly in range of that Hetzer. And you're going to barbecue it with everything you've got, because you don't want to deal with suspicious cargo. Lovely. And the reinforced lance is completely destroyed. We're going to have to take care of that heat sometime soon, because it is getting quite bad. It does have ammunition, which I probably should see about removing the ammunition. Maybe converting this back to a plasma rifle mech, because I do have the plasma rifle to do that with. Long range fire coming on towards the Rata-tat-tat, which, I suppose that's a tactic they could try to undertake, but it's probably not going to work out so great for them, considering the amount of firepower the Rata-tat-tat can put out, and how accurately it has been doing it too. Incoming PPC, not connecting, or at least didn't connect onto his intended target. If there's anybody behind him, it may have actually gotten them. And this in turn going to shift on around, also lobbing some fire towards the Rata-tat-tat. No connection so far. I do not fear you with my amazing fire support mech. Got Hunter shifting on around. If he keeps going in that direction, he's going to eventually run into a lot of pain. So my plan is to fire just enough flamers to kill him and then try and move off. But I really kind of do need a mech with Warlord. Need a Warlord pilot into this thing just to keep the temperature under control. It needs modification. But yeah, probably pull out the MML, pull out enough flamers or whatever I need in order to make it work with the make it work with a plasma rifle, and that would get it back into some more flexibility again. Don't know if that's what I want to do with it. It's just not a great mech. It was good for the time, but it has since become less useful to us. Switch over to our Infernos. Let's see if we can't go for a steal. And that'll be 170 heat and immediate shutdown. And we are shut down override, but we'll be able to have that under control since our radical heatsink kit is now active. You know what? I may as well give you the target practice. How are we? Yeah, if we want this, we're going to have to come back in this direction. You know what? Go for the target practice. Enjoy the attempted headshots. 10%. Triple shot.
Let's do this.
Sensors impaired. He's not having a great day. But I need to shift into the city with the rest of my mechs. Could take a shot from here. That's not great, but
Double time.
it's better than nothing. Warlord, why not? Nailed it with the gas rifles. Don't even have to worry about getting him back under temperature this turn at all. So that'll be nice and chill.
Commander.
Jester, in your Rata-tat-tat, you don't actually have a minimum range, I don't think. Wait, no, you do. You have an AC5, of course you do.
Understood.
So we'll just sort of walk down the street. As they come around the corner, you can just sit there holding down the trigger. That'll work out, I'm sure. Sprinting at maximum speed. Gonna see if we can't get you on top of that urban mech on the next turn. That'll be great.
Waiting for orders.
Kerensky stick. Also gonna follow the Rakatar, or perhaps even get ahead. No, just follow the Rakatar
Copy
with
that,
its
Commander.
hyper assault Gauss rifle and pair of MRM-30s. Should be able to handle anything that is here. Honestly, Kerensky stick could probably handle this whole show, unless the Talos got really lucky on its clustering for its rocket launchers. Yeah, Kerensky stick could probably wipe out all three of these mechs. Oh, they're not having a good day, that's for sure. To be honest, that's honestly very fair, though. Because you got to consider who they're trying to kill right now. Maybe you should be trying to go for full torching. Oh, no, they've all got internal combustion engines. But that doesn't change the core. Huh. I'm trying to think about if I should go for full torchings in order to just stack up as many fusion cores into the salvage list as possible. That way, when we get stuff, we'll be able to sell a couple of fusion cores for money. And that'll make up for the amount of money we didn't take when we took the 200,000 off.
Ready for orders.
Alright, Finn, your catapults. All of his stuff is exposed. He's not surviving your round. Do you have a line of sight on the Centurion coming around the corner? Because he did reverse his course. No, you don't. Alright, so we're just going to continue the plan as it was. We'll move
Hey there.
Finn down the street. Lament will follow. Lament can actually brawl, which is kind of hilarious to me. Because it's got ERPPCs, there's no minimum range on them. So if he wants to, he can get up close and personal and go for full-on brawl tactics. Now what you're going to do is you're going to hopefully get to the back. Nope, you're just going to have to get to the side. It's going to be flamers only. You're going to target a leg, an arm. How do we want to do this? Yeah, you're going to target the arm. And you're going to shut off several flamers. You're going to shut off the big damaging ones.
Target marked.
I was trying to avoid that.
Inflicted some heavy damage.
Well, you'll probably just torch on through him. It'll be fine. It's not the biggest of deals if we salvage an urban mech. After all, it's just an urban mech. It's not a risky urban mech or anything like that. I want to get around here. Yeah, that's gotta be the way. So we'll rush off over in this direction. We'll come around at them from behind, crunching them between Kerensky's stick and a Timberwolf. That's a bad place to be, between an Orion and a Timberwolf. I mean, that's just gonna have a bad day all around. You throw in the racks, and now you're just having a horrible day. I'm looking forward to it.
Standing by.
Alright, Mockingbird can come on forward. Mockingbird can probably actually kill this guy outright. I mean, let's be honest with us, with ourselves here. I'm just gonna go listen kills only. And that's destroyed the one. And the fun thing about blowing up vehicles is unless you crit their weapons, the vehicle will always be there.
Going full throttle.
So all of the equipment inside one of those vehicles, we've saved it. I mean, unless you outright crit destroy the weapon, it's still there and easily salvageable. Which is actually one of the reasons why, if you go up against a lot of vehicles, it's actually a good place to try and pick up weapons because you don't have to be careful about keeping them intact. You can just sort of go after them at full power.
How's it going?
Alright, the Lament. Yeah, the Lament I think will have follow the Timberwolf. Go in towards the back corner. I suppose he's leading the Timberwolf at this point.
Ready for orders.
Howl ain't gonna have any of that. She's gonna hopscotch forward. Gonna be in range to shoot next round, it looks like. And that'll get him between the rock and the hard place. Which was always the plan. Kind of wish I could have a Talus, but we've kind of moved beyond Taluses. They're solid, cool-looking mechs.
Commander?
And they have a lot of interesting hard points, but they are, a tad limited.
10-4.
Alright, let's kick on the incendiaries. We're going to see how much we can steal.
Taking the shot.
Barbecue time, buddy. Or we could blow up his ammunition. We do this a lot with this mech, I've noticed. Oh, that was not intended. I wanted to keep it alive. I was trying. Okay, come over back here. Now we can target the center torso. Flamers on. Flame on!
On enemy's rear.
Bail pilot, come on. How did you not bail from
Got
that?
something you want done?
You got absolutely torched by everything I had. No line of sight with the Talus. That's unfortunate.
Hightailing it.
So I don't think the Talus has a suspicious cargo. If he does, life is pain. Dude, you're not turning on anytime soon. We're just gonna steadily burn you to death.
Deceiving you.
I realize now that it was a mistake to ever try to utilize. Oh yeah, you're so dead. Gotta get to your right side where your only remaining useful appendage is.
Piece of cake.
Your leg. Where I can just basically torch on that.
Taking the shot.
Or blow it off accidentally. Okay, we saved the double heat sink. That might be the only piece of equipment worth salvaging off that mech. Out of anything in this entire place. Okay, do you have a line of sight? Not quite as you might think. Right. Well, in that case, let's bring down the house.
Copy that.
So we're going to target this. We're going to target it with... Sure, with dead fires. 20 times... Yeah, just the one.
Fire.
There we go. Hi. Little bit of urban renewal going on. We'll fight you next turn.
Yes, Commander.
The Lament gonna come around as well. It's brawling ready PPCs. Not able to get a line of sight, but depending on where he moves, the Talus moves, he might get one in fairly short order. The Rata-tat-tat can actually get a line of sight. It's obstructed. Get a side obstructed.
I get you.
Right. Let's have fun with it. Oh no, I was still firing in ultra autocannon mode. No. God, that thing looks so badass. I love it. I just don't have one. And I'm never going to have a use for one, unfortunately. Gotta sit to his front because I want to scatter the damage over as many things as possible to reduce the likelihood that we kill him. It was not to be. Chem laser ammunition explosion. Oh, that took him out as well. Okay. So the target has been defeated. In rather good style, but still defeated. We kind of wanted to steal more, but the double heatsink kit will be fine. That'll be an okay grab compared to all the other junk. 1.123020 million Zeebles. Contract payment was increased by 30%, so that's really good actually. We'll be leaving planet with a nice chunk of change and very little in the way of needed repairs. A couple of Firestar parts, the Talos, of course, which is... Oh, I like this Talos so much, I really do. 4 flamers. What am I up to on flamers? None. I could actually use flamers. Interesting. Medium rifles, machine guns, light machine guns, suspicious cargo, in case you're feeling just a little bit suicidal. Couple of fusion cores, internal combustion engines, Guardian ECM. There's your double heatsink kit. Prototype double heatsink, no thank you. Spiked helmet. I think I have 2 of these. I do. I'm saving them for when I actually run into a real melee mech that I need to build. I suppose I could turn my Kraken into a melee mech. That would be hilarious. Right. I'm good on Endosteel. Good on Beagles? 6 Beagles, yeah. I think I'm good on Beagles. And none of the weapon systems, aside from the Flamer batch, really interests me. So yeah, I'll lock that in. We got Deadfire alarm ammunition, which, you know, that puts us at 4 tons. That's pretty good. And useless fire control system standards. And 100 diffusion core, but we'll sell that as well. So that'll be a nice, cheap, and easy victory for us. Didn't cost as much to drop, didn't cost as much to repair, or at least I don't think it's going to cost me much to repair, and we'll be able to move on to the next planet without so much as a single worry, although we'll check the faction shop one more time, just to see if anything interesting has managed to spring up in the interim. Possibly not, given that my kit was basically filling the entirety of the faction shop the last time I looked, which is always a tad disheartening. But then again, it is, well, today. Alright, 11,690 for a single day. That is an easy repair to get done. So no real troubles on that at all. And gonna come on by the store. We're up to 33,600,880. According to the faction shop, there is the Blackhawk part, or no, Banshee parts. LB5, ooh, rotary Risk 5s. I don't have 2 of them, but I'd like 2 more of them. I really would actually like 2 more of them. Huh. Expulse medium lasers. Arrow 4 artillery. Just outright the launcher. Yep, it is the outright launcher, which is really nice. TBM-20 swarms. So whoever else is playing, they managed to find some really interesting equipment. And gunnery support B. Oh, that's always good. The life support gunnery systems are always amazing. They just seem to be so rare. It's a faction. And also there are 2 Banshee parts and a Ghost part. Not really interested in a Banshee. Although apparently this one has hydraulic fists. So that's interesting, but not something that I'm interested in getting. Alright, that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you very much for watching. I have been Tyrank. If you like what you've been seeing, hit the like button and subscribe. If you want to receive a notification every time I post these videos, press that little bell icon, leave a comment, and make sure that you join us for our streams on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 4 o'clock as we play through Apollo's Vipers, a clan-starred version of the campaign, which has proven to be incredibly fascinating as we circle in on getting our mechs and equipments even more dialed in perfectly. I believe that Jadehawk is almost ready to rock and roll for the next mission, and I will see you all in the next episode.